It was the year 2057. The fruit we humans had consumed the most for the past century faced complete extinction from planet Earth. The name of this fruit, Musa paradisiaca, the fruit from paradise, is bananas. Although people were devastated by the loss of their long-loved delicacy, the extinction was not an abrupt event. From the early 1960s, bananas had been constantly threatened by deadly fungi. Due to their lack of biodiversity, mass-produced bananas were genetically identical, which made them more vulnerable to the spread of disease. Many scientists and banana experts continued creating more durable species through genetic modification. Every time they succeeded, however, more powerful fungus followed. Bananas couldn't be saved forever. Almost 3 decades have passed since the very last banana was frozen for preservation. A long enough time for bananas to become a distant memory. In the year 2080, much to our surprise, a miraculous discovery was dug up by Dr. Aida Tasha Ben and her team of archaeobiologists. The discovery, named the Circle of Banana, was found in the Epping Forest while Dr. Ben and her team was carrying out environmental research of the area. At first glance, one may think it resembles the shape of the last kind of genetically modified banana.
We thought for a glimpse of a second that someone could have mummified a banana. Not only because it looked like one, but it had a distinctive scent too. But as we examined it, we realized it was clearly a man-made artifact with ritualistic purpose that belonged to a certain culture, and the shape contained important clues.
Shortly after the first discovery of the Circle of Banana by Dr. Ben, several more were found at various locations across the globe. The artifact clearly stated a high degree of archaeological significance. Therefore, Dr. Ben and her team embarked their research and study on the Circle of Banana. After 5 years of intense investigation, they succeeded in uncovering a cult which existed upon a belief that banana is the fruit of God, and therefore must not be fiddled with.
This cult wasn't formed to worship bananas. It started from the belief that bananas are the holiest creation of God. Every culture has its unique metaphors, which act as a window to understand the world. For this cult, we discovered that their belief system centers around the idea that death is banana. This is due to the early discovery that the Circle of Banana was made for commemorating the bygone fruit. For this reason, we officially named the cult the DBC, Death is Banana Cult.
Based on this premise, Dr. Ben and her team were able to gather sufficient historical evidences to prove the existence of the DBC. However, it was not until they found the final pieces of the puzzle that they encountered a shocking truth.
What was only an assumption at the beginning turned out to be a jaw-dropping truth. We found proof that it was the DBC who took the lead in the complete extinction of bananas.
What is the DBC? Where did their belief come from? And what made the DBC to drive bananas the holiest creation of their God, to extinction. To retrace the history of the DBC, the journey must begin from the genesis of the DBC Bible. Their Bible has a theoretical basis from the belief of a renowned Swedish botanist, physician and zoologist, Carl Linnaeus. Linnaeus believed that the fruit of knowledge of good and evil must have been a banana, considering the location of Eden, the right height of the tree for one to reach out for knowledge, and the appropriate size to cover one's nakedness in a hurry.
The DBC shared the same belief as Linnaeus, but they took it further back to the very beginning, when God created the heaven and the earth.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and a banana. God structured the banana to resemble his upright posture. While God spent 6 days working on his creation of the world, the banana was ripening. On the 7th day, God took a rest, feeling satisfied with his world, eating the perfectly ripe banana.
The DBC believed this is the reason why it takes 6 days for bananas to fully ripen. God left it for 6 days and ate it on the 7th day.
Later in the Genesis, God planted a garden towards the east in Eden, and there he placed the man whom he had formed. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God commanded the man, saying, "From any tree of the garden you may eat freely, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat from it you will surely die."
Here, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is a banana tree, which resembles the upright posture of God himself. The earliest bananas were actually straight. They only got curvier as humans genetically modified them. God strictly commanded the man not to eat from the tree, or else he will die. The man and the woman, Adam and Eve, eventually eats from the tree and gets punished. The DBC believed if humans messed with God's holy fruit, they would be punished. To some extent, we already are in the midst of this, the complete extinction of bananas. Only it wasn't God's act, but the DBC's.
The exact time of the formation of the DBC is unclear, but the DBC Bible is estimated to have been printed around the 1850s, when banana was first introduced in Europe and America as luxuries. In 1851, banana flavor was displayed at the Great Exhibition held in London. The flavor is also known as isoamyl acetate, which many people today would likely describe as an artificial banana flavor, for its strong and distinctive scent. However, isoamyl acetate is far from artificial. In fact, it is the original flavor of the earliest bananas. Shortly after, in 1876, banana trees were displayed at the Centennial Exhibition in Philadelphia as a rare fruit.
An important manifesto of the DBC was to preserve the holy fruit as it is, which wasn't about keeping bananas away from the public's reach. What they were trying to prevent was the unnecessary exploitation of the crop.
Of course, the peaceful time for the DBC did not last long. Shortly after bananas were introduced to the mass public, they became mass-produced. In 1871, Minor Cooper Keith, an American businessman, first planted bananas alongside the tracks of the National Railroad in Costa Rica. In 1899, Keith merged his venture with Boston Fruit Company and became the powerful United Fruit Company, known in the present day as Chiquita Brands International.
While the United Fruit Company was dominating banana trade in many regions and the public was enjoying the cheap delight, it was dark times for the DBC. They had to do something before God discovered what mankind was doing with bananas. At that time, unfortunately, the DBC's meetings were clandestine, and the cult didn't have much influence.
From the early 20th century, the United Fruit Company promoted bananas in a series of pamphlets and advertisements, distributing them throughout America. Going against the promotions, the DBC created their own posters, parodying particular graphic contents of the originals, and independently distributed them across the country.
In reality, however, people were indifferent. The DBC grasped this quickly and changed their plan. Instead of chasing after a big company, they chose to manipulate with word of mouth and newspapers, which did cause a stir for a while.
Beginning of the 1920s, as a run-up for a bigger plan that was yet to come, the DBC spread a rumor among university students in the US that banana oil can cause hallucination. By the 1960s, banana oil became an expression of a nonsense, which later developed into a popular phrase, "Go bananas," meaning go crazy.
The DBC was waiting for a chance to transform this into a social issue, hoping that the government would take action in banning bananas.
Their chance came in 1966. A singer-songwriter, Donovan, released a song titled Mellow Yellow, which was rumoured to be about smoking dried banana skin. When the song came out, it reached number 2 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and number 8 in the UK. It was just in time for the DBC. On February 1967, members of the DBC sent an anonymous letter to Berkeley Barb, a weekly underground newspaper in California. The letter contained a recipe for a fictional psychoactive drug substance extracted from banana peels called Bananadyne. Max Scher, the founder of Berkeley Barb, bought into the story and became deeply intrigued by it. Scher published it in the newspaper on March 1967. The attention was huge, getting featured in major newspapers such as the New York Times. The recipe became more widely known when William Powell, believing the drug to be real, reproduced the method in his book The Anarchist Cookbook in 1970.
Unfortunately for the DBC, it didn't go any further than that. Neither the public nor the government's reaction lived up to their expectations. Instead, it raised questions about the ethics of making psychoactive drugs illegal and prosecuting those who took them. The banana had taken a back seat in the issue.
Since then, it was a continuous downfall. The DBC had to witness a series of tragic events. Consumption of bananas reached its peak. The lack of biodiversity made bananas a susceptible crop. The modification was endless, and human greed seemed unstoppable.
It was just after the Cavendish became a bygone kind, around 2020, that the DBC got directly involved in the modification process of bananas. They believed that the relapse of stronger fungi was both a God's warning and punishment.
It was their last move. And this time, they decided to act as God themselves.
One of our findings is the secret blueprint of the modification process. The DBC constructed the process to be the opposite of the evolution of humans. Humans have evolved from having extremely curved backs to straight ones. In contrast, bananas used to be straight, but were modified to become curvy. The DBC took this to the extreme until the two ends of the banana met and became a circle. They titled their work The Modification of Bananas.
The extinction of bananas was not a natural phenomenon. However, bananas would have gone extinct much earlier if it wasn't for the humans modifying them. Perhaps, if it wasn't for humanity's greedy mass production of the fruit, they would still be around to enjoy today.
We don't know why the circle of banana were buried in the grounds, because the DBC disappeared without a trace after the blueprint. We only know that it was designed and crafted to commemorate the bygone bananas. We can only assume that the complete extinction of bananas put an end to their belief.
From the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat from it you will surely die, God commanded. The DBC's belief began with the conception, death is banana, and remains, death is banana. They became God themselves, trying to protect what is God's. Bananas and humans are both creations of God. Banana is dead, but mankind still lives. We could be next on the list.